News alert, major cover-up inside of the DNC. Leaks everywhere. Remember the autopsy report? They audited why they lost. Well, a chapter went missing about Biden, money, and the consultant class. More on that in a second. The autopsy's author says he personally handed the chapter in a 3-ring binder to the chairman of the DNC, Ken Martin, and said it was never seen again until now. Now, Ken Martin denies he's in on the cover-up, but this should be easy to figure out, right? Pull the emails, right? Wrong. All the emails wiped clean. They pulled a crooked, deleted for security purposes. The autopsy's author says he knows why they nuked the chapter. That chapter was basically the cause of death, why the Democrats lost. And this is what they were trying to hide. Quote, "There are too many people who have become generationally wealthy off politics and drive too much of the decision-making within the ecosystem. The people in the room at the highest levels of 24 decision-making misunderstood the mood and practicalities facing everyday America." The secret chapter also says the Democrat politicians got so rich that they lost touch too. Inflation, border, crime, they didn't care. Doesn't affect them. The secret chapter also said they knew Biden was going to lose, but they were too busy getting paid to notice. So they covered it up. And now they're covering up the cover-up. But the truth always comes out, and now the knives are out. The DNC chair has gone into hiding. Ken Martin. Sources say he's hunkered down. Paranoid after the committee sent him to HR for throwing his phone at an intern. Sources say he's about to get fired. We're hearing it could happen before the midterms, turning the party into a headless horseman going into battle. But it gets worse. Democrats say the party's a cashless dumpster fire. Their biggest donors are on strike. This year, George Soros hasn't given the DNC a dime. Last midterm cycle handed over $1 million. The party's a joke. Donors are telling each other that DNC stands for do not contribute. They have alligator arms because the woman who left the party $2 billion in debt is surging into first. And she's asking for their credit card again.
I know this is going to be controversial coming from me in particular. We need to revisit the Electoral College. We need to revisit the point of expanding the court to 13 justices like we have 13 district courts. We need to revisit, if they so want, statehood for Puerto Rico and D.C.
The rich consultants are soothing donors. Quote, "I call it the Kamala mirage. Her name does not come up. She's not part of people's calculus for 28, whether she runs or not."
The question that I have is, we know that there was $2 billion spent. They obviously went into debt for this previous election. And we heard about the entertainers. We heard about the Roland Martins and the Al Sharptons and all the entertainers and how much money they received. What we didn't hear is the consulting firms. All those consulting firms. We don't know the names of these consulting firms that received this money. We don't know any people that are in charge of these consultant firms. We just know that there was money given to consultant firms to help push this lady over the line. We don't know who these people are. I wouldn't give $1 to the Democrat Party at all. They get none of my money. But at the same time, I understand those on that side of things are like, wait, y'all received all this money. We don't even know where the money went, other than a handful of things that Lindy Lee had kind of called out and things of that nature. But there's still $1 billion unaccounted for. No one knows where the money went.
I may or may not know how these consulting firms work. Since I used to work over there, I may or may not know. I can say allegedly for entertainment purposes that people make really, really good money when you work in these consulting firms. You make some. I'm saying this is, if you look at people who work in politics across the board, I'm not just talking about the people that are running for office. I'm talking about the people, even down to the door knockers, even to the people that get you to sign the things. You could be making 5,000 a month. You could be making 8,000 a month. You make some really good money. I'm telling y'all right now, the type of money that you make, if you want to sell your soul, you will make some good money over there. You don't need to be in corporate America because politics pays really, really well. I could say allegedly for entertainment purposes, maybe an organization that I worked for at some point in time 2 to 3 people have already been in trouble for embezzling the money, allegedly. I'm not, we're just going to keep saying allegedly. A company I used to work for, and I got out before all the craziness got on. But I'm just saying, the type of money that you can make in that space is crazy. It really, truly, truly is. And I understand why people like George Soros is like, I'm not giving y'all no more money. Honestly, I feel like George Soros might like, listen, let me just give it to the DSA. I'm not giving it to DNC because DNC is trash. And all of y'all, everybody sees who y'all are. Everyone knows who you are. We're not doing that with y'all. And so they're giving up. Ken Martin hiding. The fact that Kamala's talking about expanding the courts, I just had to touch that for a moment. The fact that the courts currently can't even get it right. They're soft on crime. And you want to expand more and you want more of this. And ma'am, we don't need any more of anything. Let's just be real. We don't need any more anything from y'all. I will say at this point, DNC is exactly what they just said. Do not contribute. I'm telling y'all right now, from being inside belly of the beast, it is very crooked. It is problematic. I have watched a consulting firm move from one person to the next person to the next person to the next person. And it's the same. Money is not making sense going from from one person to the next person. And they don't understand why all of a sudden money's missing. This is millions, not thousands, not hundreds, millions of dollars is I'm just telling y'all right now. So when I tell you Jesse Waters ain't lying, I'm not going to put myself, I'm going to plead the fifth, like, Anthony Fauci of what I know and don't know. Don't plead the fifth. I'm just saying right now, it is definitely problematic in those organizations. And that is why y'all will hear me say things like professional protesters, because there are professionals that go out and do these things. There are professionals that we talked about, the celebrities and stuff that were to speak on the behalf of someone, even if they don't believe in that person. But they as long as that check clear, they will say whatever you got.
They'll say whatever needs to be said. Yeah.
So again, I'm glad all of these pieces of information is coming out, and I hope more people see it. But it's so funny. My dad and I were talking about this. He was saying that a lot of people aren't seeing things because some of these stories aren't even making it on the other sphere. So other people aren't getting to hear it because if you mention it, they'll be like, oh, you lying. That's not true. But it's because the mainstream media that they're locked into, the CNNs, the MS Nows and all that, they're not going to report this. The podcasters who are supposed to be independent podcasters that are out there supposed to be telling the truth, they're not going to talk about it in that sphere. So
that's because they're not independent, Crystal.
They're not. They're they're part of the consulting.
We found out that they were getting paid. The only people that we didn't find out how much they took was the consulting class. We found out about the podcasters and the influencers, and we found out about the entertainers, and we found out about some of the folks in the quote unquote independent Black space media. We didn't find out the consultants. We don't know how much they received.
I could say in the millions, because like I said, the regular Joe Schmo people that are operating in a consulting firm, you're making a hefty amount of money as a regular, let's just say entry level, or, right there, just begin. You're making really good money as entry level. My first few months there, I made really, really good money. That was during C19. People weren't making money in C19. I was making money in C19 because of how they are paid in that. Like I said, the consulting firms, they make really, really good money so that they're able to pay the people that they want to bring in to do certain things and still be able to allegedly maybe, for entertainment purposes, embezzle some money. I'm just saying. They're able to do all of the above. So
what are your thoughts on Kamala? Do you think she has a legit chance to become the Democratic nominee this time around?
Among Democrats, crazy Democrats, yes, she has a 100% chance among crazy Democrats. But among the rest of the American people, no, not a chance in hell. That lady is done as she could be. But I think you're going to always have some nutcases that's going to follow her to the ends of the earth because they're crazy. And crazy follows crazy. It's just the way it is. As you can see, though, the Democratic, the DNC knows no limits of corruption. They're just, and Crystal was talking about, she says often about how God is going to be revealing stuff. And more stuff keeps coming out. People keep getting exposed. And I think it's wonderful. I really do. I think Linda Lee, as you said, she tried to do her best to expose what she couldn't expose. But it's good to see more and more of this stuff coming out, the corruption coming out. I think that people need to see this, need to hear this, because this is how bad politics is. And I think that Crystal said something else that was important, that's why a lot of people are still Democrats, because there's a lot of money to be made in the Democratic Party, easy money to be made.
Oh,
in other groups, you have to have some level of morality some level of decency to be able to do the right, because your conscience won't let you do certain things. But over there, the sky's the limit. You can do anything you want to do as long as you have no conscience. And there was a Russian individual who talked about how they look for Americans who had no ethics in order that they might use them in our country to corrupt our country. They actually looked for people. They examined, they watched them, they monitored them. And you can look at the Democratic Party, you can call name by name. You can see the people have no morals. They have no decency about them. And I'm talking about even the people in media, the Roland Martins, the Jeffries. I mean, there's just the way they talk. You can tell that they sold their soul a long time ago. And I think that it's good for us to keep bringing this stuff out with the different groups that are doing this, because people need to be able to see what wickedness is, what corruption is. And the only way we see it is when something's exposed. The sad thing about it is that often it takes so long before the exposure is done. I wish it could be done much sooner.
No, I agree with you there, Minister Danzel. I don't think you can be a part of the Democratic Party and not be corrupt, not be someone that has some serious skeletons in their closet. They need that. I mean, think about it. Tim Walz was chosen because of the skeletons that he had. He is easily controlled based off of the things that he had his hands in out there in Minnesota.
Amen.
Easily controlled. When you look at Roland Martin has been, flexing on the Democrat Party, and he's been telling Black folks, hey, y'all can sit the couch and y'all can do these things, and you can't be a part of that and not be corrupt and not have some skeletons.
Come on.
So do you think that scandal ties into this? Like, hey, bro, get on board, we'll come after you.
Yep. Why? Now, don't get me wrong. I did laugh. The AI videos are funny. Okay. The descriptions, lovely. However, I'm not very interested in Roland's personal life. And now that I know about it, I'm thankful I wasn't. But I see all the people saying, oh, it's the midterms and the conservatives are trying to, create a diversion. And I'm like, no. I'm like, y'all are missing it. It is the Democrats. That man, because of, Ratchet Crockett and all the other people that didn't win. You got Debbie Wasserman Schultz over there trying to get into that only Black district in Florida, down there in Broward County, right? And you have Luke Campbell saying, Trump is correct because you see certain things now that the Democratic Party is doing. So even their operatives are noticing how corrupt they really are. But since they've been a part of that corruption, you absolutely don't have a leg to stand on. And Roland Martin decided that he was going to go against the grain with having a whole 2-3 hour episode talking about the Democratic Party hasn't done anything for Black people. I said, oh, there you go.
Oh, really? All of a sudden.
There you go.
Do you understand how fast that happened? I think that was last week, wasn't it? Was it last week or the week before last?
It was the week before last week. Yeah.
And then next thing you know, here comes this scandal out of nowhere.
Absolutely. I knew exactly where it came from. Just Eric Swallowswell. Okay. Same thing. Same thing. He tried it. He tried it. He wanted to go against the grain. And for the purposes of all this, I would even say Greasy Gasm Newsom. Okay.
Yeah.
Greasy Gasm. He decided that he would, try to branch off a little bit. 1 minute he's talking about how, trans there shouldn't be, and then when they get on him, then he, tries to get back on code, but he really doesn't align with that. I remember when he was speaking to Charlie Kirk. So when you try to get off the plantation and you've been going through places like Act Blue, which is one of the consultant firms that I think they're not talking about a lot. And if you want to talk about the credit cards, because Jesse there started to talk about, well, she wants to keep, asking for credit cards. Well, Kamala asked for credit cards all the way up until January of 2025 because those credit cards were still being charged, even though the campaign was over.
Yep.
So she got more than $1 billion. And so I just look at all of this and, if anybody pops up with a scandal or things, because these people, they think they're not being vetted, but they are. There's no way you're dealing with these, people in these high positions and you're not being vetted. Okay, all the way down to the person that stands outside your door. They know who you are. They know you know, my husband's on the Secret Service force, and they know who calls my phone. You know, and I'm not on the police team at all. So at the end of the day, these people, when they work for the Democratic Party, they don't expect blowback because some of them don't deem themselves to be, you know, pretty high up. But Roland Martin, Aaron Panis, Harry Sisisian, the call me daddy lady, okay, who's a Catholic and doesn't want to get rid of her children, but doesn't mind
Oh,
telling
my
you to
daddy.
get rid of yours. Yeah, all of these people, they're part of a whole game. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you go against the grain. This is what happens.
I'm waiting on, because Joy Reid was on that show when he was talking about that. I'm waiting on whatever scandal comes out, you know, in reference to Joy Reid. I would assume that it's coming as well.
Wow, that is probably the only person that I think don't have a scandal.
She is the scandal. She is the scandal. Just let her talk.
The most
Open her mouth.
the most scandalous thing about Joy Reid is just her.
That's right.
It's a
That hairline.
whole
You
shame.
need that hairline to start back there.
No, it is
The way she talks.
the gall to talk about Donald Trump and having a hairpiece when, ma'am, you
No.
absolutely know blonde hair strips your hair. And when it's thinning, you don't need no more strips.
Yeah, you
Like,
don't need
let
that.
it go. You're either gonna be
Yeah.
like Ayanna Priestley and go bald or not. But
Yeah.
we're not gonna do this in between that she's doing. It's
But
all
sis,
her. She don't have a scandal.
I think they might find something, because to me, everybody to be in there, you have to have skin
You
in the
can't.
game. You
Yeah,
have to have some
exactly.
kind of
I
skin in
don't
that
think
game.
the DNC won't take you if they don't have something
Control
on you.
you.
That's like signing a record deal.
Mhm.
You can't go so far without them having something on you to use.
Yes,
to
because
get you
they'll drop you otherwise.
Yeah,
Good
And
point.
that's what I think happened to Joy Reid. That's why I say I don't think it's a scandal, because Joy Reid, when she tried to get a little big for her britches, they fired her. They got rid of her. And I do think she doesn't have anything now. Don't Limon?
Well, first of all, I found something was severely missing from Jesse Waters, who I very much like his reporting, when he said, and I quote, "They knew Biden was going to lose." To me, that's the most important part of the reporting. The question is, how did they know?
Good
What
question.
information did they have that would let them know that they knew for sure they were going to lose? So it appears as, was it polls that they were faking, and they had real internal polls that were telling them he was going to lose? What did they know? I hope this leaks out. Apparently it's just beginning to leak. I hope it leaks out, because I want to know what they knew when they knew he was going to lose, because it seems that what happened was they all realized he's going to lose, and they sat there and said, well, let's loot the piggy bank while we can. Since we are not going to get to the big piggy bank, which is the Treasury, we've got this $2 billion, and we will go with reckless abandon and loot it, and then he'll lose, but we'll all be richer and more protected, and we'll wait for our next go round to come back. If that's the case, because that's exactly what seems like it happened. But we are not even anywhere near the beginning of the Democrat, but we can also say the political grift. Part of the reason the Democrats have no money, and they are most assuredly out of money, that really came out last week, is the pipeline, the money flow, the money laundering pipeline between NGOs, USAID, and Act Blue is irreparably damaged. Trump came in office, and they announced the winner at whatever time in the morning, and we woke up and the news wasn't Trump won the election. The news was 7 executives from from Act Blue have quit. Interesting. Why are they gone? All 7 of them, the whole top brass, just got together, held hands, and walked away. I mean, we're gone into the sunset. Don't know their names, never heard from them again. They seem to be escaping any kind of accountability or prosecution. But the kickback from the money from the taxpayer that goes to individuals that own and operate NGOs that somehow found its way into Act Blue, and it couldn't be under their names. So the names, I guess, these same dead and illegal, ineligible voting Americans also heavily donate to campaigns. So not only are they super voters, they're also super donators. And you can see on the internet of people knocking on folks' house saying, did you give $50,000 in 25 donations over a 3-year period? And these people talk about, well, absolutely not. I don't have that kind of money. I may have made a $10 donation here. Well, no, here it says you made a $50,000 donation. Folks, these people are acting in your name.
Yeah.
This goes to show the level of respect that they have for you. They are acting in your name. They are doing their illegal contraband activities in your name. And this amazing amount of grift, maybe they knew somehow they weren't going to be able to stuff the ballot boxes like they usually do. To me, if you want to tell me you really leaking the report, explain that sentence. They knew Biden was going to lose. Until I hear that, I'm not convinced all the report is being leaked. Something is being safeguarded.
Wow.
I want to hear from you guys in the comment section. What are your thoughts on any of this? Hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the notifications on to all so you never miss an upload. Consider joining the ARP family or buy your brother a coffee. That link's in the description box below. And as always, keep God first. Stay prayed up. We'll catch up with you guys next time. Peace.
It is God who arms me with strength. Yeah, I'm battle ready. He trains my hands for battle. My heart stays steady. But thanks be to God, he gives us the victory. Through my Lord Jesus Christ, fear can't live in me. I was down to the dirt, red clay on my shoes, old pain in my shirt, oh so bruised. In the Lord hit my chest, kicked air from my breath, put power in my step.